Rev up your engines! Mini Coopers. People love them or they hate them. Well, this guy loves his. It's a 2019 S. Came with about 189 horsepower. Now it's got maybe 210. It's been tuned. Okay, now realize this is nothing like the original Mini. This thing weighs 3,035 pounds. It's a lot heavier than the original one, but it's still light for a modern car. But then again, as I said, this thing has 210 horsepower. The original Mini had 55. So even though this one weighs more than twice as much, it's got almost 4 times the horsepower. With that kind of power, with this lightweight, there's no doubt these things are fun to drive around. And a lot of people say, oh, those Minis, these are girly cars. Well, check this out. He's an ex-Marine, and he does have a wife. So this is not a girly car. They got that style and the color. There's a million different ones you can get at the factory. All we're doing here, we service the automatic transmission. A lot of people whine that these things fall apart. Well, the main reason they fall apart is people don't maintain them. Americans don't maintain cars. Now in Great Britain, they generally don't have the problems with them they do here because the British generally take care of their machines. They value their money and they take care of it. In this case, the owner was changing the automatic transmission fluid. And as is often the case, the BMW dealer told them, oh, it's lifetime fluid, you never need to change it. Guess what he's doing? He's changing the fluid, so it's gonna last. The average American, one, they don't want to do anything anyway, but when a dealer says, oh, you don't need to change it, it's lifetime fluid, they won't, then the transmission will go out. And I've seen that happen on many of these. Now, this is his second Mini. His previous one was a 2008. And a lot of people will say, oh, he's crazy. Why did he buy another one after he got rid of the first one? Well, he bought it with 150,000 and he got rid of it when it had almost 250,000 miles on it. And it had been a good car because you can see he maintains his car. Now, if you're the type of person that does not maintain your car, don't buy a Mini. Don't buy any BMW product because it will fall apart if you don't maintain it. Now these are handling dream. As you can see here on the struts, it's got electronic suspension system. It's a very complex system to make this little car handle great. As you can see, it's not just the English. This is the Tar Heel Mini Motoring Club. And his brother was a fireman in New York. So it's an international Mini. I do have to say, I enjoy their interior. I like black and chrome. If you like black and chrome, this is the car for you. And they got the dual sunroofs. They got everything. They got a lot of room in the back. It may be a Mini, but this baby's a 4-door Mini. And there's still room in the back. And sure, it says Mini, but not that many of a trunk. It's got room in the trunk. It's got the great hiding so you can put all your stuff in here. No one's going to steal it because they don't see it. And look, a secret panel. You can put even more stuff in there, like fish and chips. Now this car's been all over the place. The Appalachian Trail, Tennessee Cider, and beautiful Blowing Rock, North Carolina. And as you can see, these aren't baloney skin tires. These are nice wide tires. As I said, these things can really handle well, as we're going to show you. Now, of course, this is all set up with modern stuff. It really looks cool. You got to admit. It's like you're in some kind of a spaceship. Colors change. It's cool. And with those wide tires I was talking about, this thing handles. You turn, you just feel like you're hugging the road. They're really like giant go-karts with better suspension. Now, it's a turbocharged car, so let's do the usual stop and stomp. And look, this thing doesn't shake. It's so smooth, you can have a cup of tea on it. Step on the gas, and away we go. You can hear that turbo. But feel those strong shifts. There's no jerking, as long as you maintain it. This is a Mini. It's like a go-kart. It's going to ride like a Cadillac. It's not made for that. They ride perfectly fine for a car that handles like a dream. You want a really smooth riding car? Don't buy a Mini, or you'd have to radically modify the suspension. And now it's in purple mode. I like those colors. Check it out. Now my favorite though is the steering wheel. There's nothing better than black and silver. You can't beat black and silver. It's traditional, it looks beautiful, and the stylized British flag just sets it off. And I have to say, even though BMW is involved, they are built in England, unlike my Triumph Thruxton, which was made in Thailand. But I do have to say, the Thais make better motorcycles than the Brits. One of those people that can't remember if the turn signal's on, you can't miss that. It's a big old tick-tock. I kind of like it. It's old school. Of course, if you want to drive like a maniac, there's always the old paddle shifters there. But what's my opinion? Well, it is a fun car to drive. Now, if you're the type of person who maintains their cars, they can actually last. He bought one with 150,000 miles for $3,000, then sold it with 250,000 miles, and it was still running okay. If you maintain them, it can be fun. But if you're the type of person who doesn't maintain their car at all, stick with Toyotas. Like this old Camry. This thing Hey, it's got almost 200,000 miles on it, hasn't been maintained at all, and it still runs down the road. And sure, it looks a little ragged inside, and the paint's coming off because it's been wrecked and repainted incorrectly. Seen better days. And it certainly isn't cute like this Mini. So, if you do maintain your cars, I mean really maintain your cars, you can have fun with one of these things, especially if you don't drive like an absolute lunatic and wreck them. Many of my customers lost them because they wrecked them. They took them too far. They can go far, but if you go a little bit too far, then it's goodbye Mini. If you take care of them and know how to drive, you can have fun in one of these things. Especially if you buy a used one that you can get for a fraction. He only paid $3 grand for the first one and got 100,000 miles out of it. Now I'm always giving away free car advice here. Today I'm also going to give away this Scooby Gone for automotive. You always want the automotive one on cars. It's stronger. It's a gel formulation. I'm going to give away a case of this. They have a chance to win. Place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below, and a winner will be randomly chosen by computer to get a case of the Scooby Gone gel that will take all kinds of goo off in a very short period of time and not damage anything. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Want to change your full-size pickup into an electric pickup? It's not going to be as hard as you might think. There's a company called Magna, and they're making what's called an e-beam for electric beam. And all it is you got a classic truck. It's got an engine, a drive shaft, and then a differential in the back that drives the rear tires. Well, you take the differential off and you bolt on their e-beam, which is the electric motor and the axles that go to the wheels, and then the plug coming out. And all you got to do is supply a battery. The motor's built into the differential. Now, it's totally doable. I mean, that's only simplicity itself. I've been in Toyota Highlanders that were the hybrid ones. The front were front-wheel drive off a gasoline engine, and the rear wheels simply had an electric differential with a motor in it that drove the rear wheels. Well, it was only a matter of time until people start building these things so people can convert it if they really want to, and they've been done by this company called Magna. It's a drop-in replacement. You use the same suspension. You use the same brake system. You don't have to change anything except take the differential out, take the drive shaft off, and since you didn't want the weight, you take the engine and transmission out too. Why have all that extra weight? They have 160 horsepower versions, 335 horsepower versions, 1-speed versions, 2-speed versions. It's only a matter of time that if things do become electrified, and it might be a long way in the future, you'll be able to convert your old vehicle. It only makes sense. They're probably going to sell a whole bunch of for F-150s, Rams, 1500 GMs. Now, what's the problem with the GMs? Their transmissions, their differentials. You're throwing all that away, you can put an electric one in. Don't think that that isn't going to happen if things do become electrified. Why throw away the baby with the bathwater? Why throw the whole truck away when you got a perfectly good truck and all you got is pull the differential, take the engine and transmission out, and put one of these e-beams in the back? Pretty smart idea if you ask me. Now, presently, Magna has this system set up for big commercial stuff. But as they say, they have it in the works for individuals to convert their own cars. And it's only going to be a matter of time. Like I say, electricity isn't accepted yet. There's not enough generating plants, yada, yada, yada. But if they start building up the infrastructure, a lot of people start wanting to have electric vehicles. Don't think these companies aren't going to start selling them to the public. There's going to be hordes of guys like me out there that'll convert them for you. If you don't want to do the work, bring your truck in. We'll pull the stuff out, put the electric stuff in, custom made for each vehicle. You know they're going to sell a heck of them. And it's a smart thing. You start with the most popular and work down. Make them for Toyota trucks or whatever you wanted to do. And they would have kits, they'd perfect them, and voila. Why buy a $50,000 to $100,000 electric truck when you convert yours into an electric vehicle if you want? It's starting out now, and it might take years and years and years, but I knew this would happen. It's only common sense. Johnny C-Note says, I got an 01 Nissan Altima, less than 85,000 miles. It has a timing chain instead of a belt. Some people said I should replace it. Others said it can last longer. How long will it last, and will it be risky if I leave it alone? Timing chains, yes. They're made out of steel, right? But they're soaked in the engine oil, so they're lubricated all the time. A rubber timing belt just goes in the air. Oil would ruin it. Well, some of the new ones actually can be in oil. They got real fancy ones, but the old ones like that, no. They have to be dry. But you got a chain, it's lubricated. I would just leave it alone as long as it runs okay. Because when a timing chain wears, one, it'll start running poorly, and any decent mechanic can just sit there and look at a scan tool and look at the ignition timing while it's idle. If the ignition timing keeps going 8, 12, 10, 0, that means the timing chain's worn and it's time to replace it. Or if it's really going bad, it will rattle when it's idling. You'll hear it rattling, then you know it's time to change it. And that'll happen long before the stupid thing breaks. It'll either run bad or you'll hear the timing chain rattling, and anybody with a scan tool can look at the timing when it's idling. If it starts bouncing around, you know it's wearing out and it's time to replace the thing. There's no set mileage or anything, but the more frequently you change your engine oil and filter, the longer your chain will last. The chain likes clean oil. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.